Howdy folks, it's Johan, your favorite little ink blob, back at it today with a bit more with Refined Self, the personality test game. So this will be a little different than the other ones because we've completed the game, we've done the personality stuff, we have our personality. Boop. It's all filled out, we can't get more. And we got the meta narrative. We got to see that, which that was what I was waiting for. I was waiting for that shoe to drop. But what we're going to do, I want to go back into the game and do, I don't know if we're going to do like follow every little thread of like, oh, pick all of the flowers or things like that, because I don't know if that's necessarily worth it. But there were at least two decisions that I could not bring myself to make morally. Those being killing the crow robot, the crow drone, I think that was what it was called, and then using the ladder because that would kill him. So I want to go do those things, and I think there were like one or two things in the sort of like cave area, if I can remember how to get there, that I want to explore. So we'll do those just to sort of see those aspects of the game that we would have missed out on. And that's going to be the bulk of it. Except my recording time is a little weird today, so I was setting up a new game and I was just trying to test if it like checkpointed if we could like continue from the point we were at. Answer is no, by the way. So if you're doing a run through of it, sit down and finish it. seems to be your option. So unfortunately I wasn't recording at that time when it said, hey, there's also this other game that some people like to play with this for determining their personality. Click on the PC for it. Something about like sorting and answering questions. So, oh, here we go. The test has been completed, but what will you do? Of course, you'll still be shown what personality you'd get. It will not be recorded as your personality. Regardless, will you play the game again? Oh, that was continuing there. Oh. Wait. Hold up. Is it not doing the thing? This looks like the main game. Wait. Okay. Well, maybe I should have tested it first. I didn't want... In any case, it seems like there's some sort of sorting game, in addition here. So we'll exit out, because what I'm going to do is I want to talk briefly about a couple of things. A little bit of like background and some thoughts. I tried to do a little research into it, and I wanted to like answer some of the questions that I myself was asking before. And then I was thinking we'll try and do that sorting game, if we can figure it out, before we go back and do some of the stuff. So the big things I wanted to bring up were, I guess, twofold. I think the biggest thing that I talked about that I'm like, oh, hey, I really want to like address this. Boop, boop. Finally able to understand. Bonus, there we go. So we'll do that. But basically the two biggest things that I wanted to address were specifically, I talked a lot about this game as like, it pitched itself as a test. I was really interested in it from that perspective. Oh, I should go research, how much was put into it. And I do want to apologize if you're watching this. Someone commented on the video saying, it's more of a game than a test. And I can't, the comment only shows in certain views and it's not letting me respond to it. So I apologize, but I did read it. And basically looking into it, I'm not finding any sort of like statistical validation of it, which is so frustrating to me because there's so much, like, it's collecting a lot of different data points, and obviously enough research was put into it, I have to assume, to use that sort of like 5-factor model. Like that, at least to me, maybe it's just because 5 is like a nice thing, but like, why not 4? Why not 6? It seems likely to me that there was some research put in to understand that 5 factors is what has been settled on for most cultures. I did double check myself. I thought I was under the impression that personality models for Japan, we're finding typically 4 factors. I couldn't find any articles about that. It looks like I'm finding a lot of stuff talking about Japanese language adaptations of the BFAS or the BFI, the Big Five, some of the more popular Big Five scales, and them being basically saying, hey, this is validating fairly well. So it does seem that Japan also has a sort of 5-factor model, because that is one of the really big limitations that they found with with a lot of like personality psych research using the Big Five model. Again, there's a lot of issues with it. It is far from perfect. I mean, it literally was originated by looking through a dictionary for words to do with personality and then reducing them and then finding, oh, there seem to be sort of these 5 groupings, and so what would we call, how would we call and interpret these? It's an interesting approach. There's a lot of holes in it, but one of the really big issues with it that I remember talking about a lot and being a little curious about is that most of the research done has been in English. And especially for something where you're talking about self-reported data, where people are having to read questions and then think about them and respond, and that's your only metric for it, there's a lot of differences based on language and translation. If you just run these different inventories through an auto translator service, you're probably going to get some different results. Even with a human translator going through carefully doing it, slight nuances in how you choose to interpret different concepts and translate those will create probably different effects in the people receiving that. And that's, I really thought it was Japan, which is driving me crazy. I'll need to see if I can go dig up the textbook and then like track down its references. But at least some cultures, they are finding that like 4 factors or 6 factors tend to be a better fit. And I'm saying culture, it's language. I believe that it is often being tied into also like cultural research, because there's aspects of how you are raised, the structural framework of your society will change how you tend to develop a personality. Because, the age-old question in psych of, nature versus nurture, the answer is both. It's pretty much always both, right? There's some inherent aspect of who you are as a person, which I believe in early childhood they refer to it as like temperament. Oh, it's been a while. See, there's always more research to do because I'm not doing this as like a proper video essay, but like temperament is referring to like some of the facets of early childhood personality in babies, which then which I forget what those different axes are, but basically it's like reactivity to your environment and things like that, which are just sort of observations of how babies tend to react. But that is probably a better template for who you are from like a mostly biological standpoint. Obviously, even that can be affected by how responsive your parents are, how your parents are responding to, and so on and so forth. But that's at least more of a window into you before you have received as much molding from the society that you are being raised in. Again, there's still some, but less. Where was I going with this? Basically, your environment shapes your personality a lot, and part of that is language as well. And that is something where most of the research has been conducted in English, usually in Western cultures. So they're trying to expand that out, and they have found some differences. But specifically for Japan, which this is a game made by a Japanese independent developer, and apparently was very popular in Japan. It does seem that it is a 5-factor model, which is in alignment with this. So again, I would be unsurprised if there was some research done into that. So, does not appear that this is actually a statistically, reliable personality test, which pains me because I was like, oh, maybe there is. I'm not finding it. Now, maybe this would also change because I'm searching in English, and it turns out you're trying to search for things that originate in other languages, you often don't find it by just searching in or at the very least in English. I don't know. I haven't done a lot of searching in non-English languages because I am currently monolingual, working on it. But there may be some discussion of it, or maybe some notes on that in Japanese out there that I'm unaware of. If there is someone out there who knows, I would love to hear it. But to the best of my knowledge, I have not found any resources talking about that, which then makes me wonder. I would be very curious. I think it would be very neat. I don't think I will ever be in a position to get together the funding and such for it, but I would be very interested if someone were to conduct a sampling of the player base, get people to play this game for the first time, and go through and note down some of these different factors and all of the decisions, because you can go read the list, not necessarily how they affect things, I think, or maybe it does. Maybe it does, because in the last bit, I think it was saying that it would tell you so you can aim for the personality you want. But it seems like a lot of this is exposed. You could probably do it through file diving or experimentation if you really had to. Like, I'm sure there are ways to go and figure out how the game is weighting these things. Go through, have people do that, take a sampling of 100, 1,000. I'm not, again, coming up with the exact specificity of it, but do a random sampling of a sizable chunk of the player base, have them play it new. So I guess not the player base. Have some new people who are interested play through it, and then have them take the BFAS or the BFI. Take something to assess their Big Five personality model, score? I guess scores, sure. And then I would love to see that actually get mapped and see if there is a way in which the personality data matches up well, as it currently is, or even if the way it's being interpreted currently isn't correct, is there a way to basically recalculate it into something that would map onto our current measures of the Big Five? So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if that would actually really add that much to the field of research, but maybe that's something. Maybe that's a paper out there. If there's a psych student out there who wants an interesting thing, and you're watching an ink blot, legitimately, maybe there's some applications in examining video games as a medium for personality assessment and such, because again, like I was talking about, it seems very, very strongly weighted towards clergy, right? I'm not special. And I suspect that is partly from a combination of like people streaming it and having an audience, that being a confounding factor, as well as just sort of the structure in which we tend to play video games affecting how like a raw personality would be. So I don't know. I think that will be a very interesting study. Probably won't pull that together myself, but if someone's gung-ho out there, that would be awesome. And I'll probably keep checking for that every once in a while at 2 a.m. when I think of it. So, wanted to get that out of the way. Does not appear, indeed, to actually be any sort of statistically validated test. Still very interesting. Still something where I highly recommend playing it, and I think it's good for getting you to reflect on yourself, which, same as the Myers-Briggs test and the Enneagram and pretty much anything else, I think there is value to things like your star sign if it is something where you get value out of them. I would not say to make major life decisions based on these things, but hell, I wouldn't even make major life decisions based on a Big Five personality score. But I think there's still value in that sort of, I almost like guided meditation, right? It's guided reflection and guided introspection. So still highly recommend it, even if it's not what I was thinking it might be. The second thing I wanted to talk about, let me see, I probably should have actually bothered to like pull this up first, but when I was trying to look for some of this, I noticed that I had not looked into this game as well as I should have, which is unfortunate. But basically, I was under the impression that Playism was the developer. Wrong. Playism is the publisher. The developer is Lizardry, Japanese indie dev. Only 2 projects have been this game, Refined Self, the personality test, and 7 Days to End With You, which is the other one that really grabbed my attention from it. Playism also has apparently published other titles that like I'm familiar with, like Ebe and Yumi Nikki. I think it said when I was looking at it, oh god, I hope I didn't get that wrong, but there were a couple where I'm like, oh, I recognize those. I did not recognize the publisher because I'm bad with that kind of thing, but yeah, so not me being a goof, but Lizardry, yeah, has made both this game and 7 Days to End With You, which I have purchased and will probably be, I don't know if it will be next on my list because I'm very busy and I want to give it the time it deserves, but I want to give everything the time it deserves. And this is about trying to make time in my day, record it, put it out there so I can review it. And if people enjoy it, awesome. So we'll see. We'll see. But it is one that I am very motivated to play. I'm very excited by. But I also thought was neat. Lizardry has a website, which I'm obviously Google translating into English because my Japanese is like my level of Japanese was when a Japanese exchange student came to my store when I was working retail previously. The only phrase that popped into my mind at that moment was bengoshi desu, which I believe, thank you Duolingo, is I am a lawyer, which is false. So I don't have great Japanese, so yeah, ways off of that. But yeah, so they have a website, lizardry.jp, where list the products, which is awesome. Love these two. And Note, which, translating it, it's a little like monthly journal published, looks like aiming for the 27th. Started back in November. I skimmed through these. I actually read this one in its entirety. The other ones, I was doing this quick. But I don't know, it's really nice. I highly recommend, if you like the game, check this out. It's a neat little window into the mind of the person who's making them. And I like their thoughts. It's nice. This one I just really wanted to briefly touch on because this is the one that I think is most like tied into the game. Seems to be some musings that may lead them to such things. But very basically, they're talking about the observation of nostalgic syndrome, a moment when memories are forcibly recalled regardless of the current situation dominated by memories. The sense of smell is most strongly affected, followed by hearing. There's no experience with sight, touch, or taste yet. Personal name and coined term by Lizardry. So them describing the sort of like unbidden memories coming back and how they named it and how they thought of it. And then going on to point out that they did some research eventually and found out that it's also called the Proust effect. This is a more widely known phenomenon. And I like that they also include their little citation there. But yeah, basically this sort of musing and, ooh, I'm going to name this phenomenon, and oh, it already exists. Which they talk about that, like the disappointment, and the disappointment of thinking you've discovered something but not, and that sort of being this like that being a recurring theme with them. In life, I've often been disappointed for the reasons mentioned above. I am exposing my ignorance. But nostalgic syndrome still exists as a theme for me. That is because there was a process that led to this word. I really like that. I really like that because it reminded me of when I was a kid. I was like, oh, let's figure out perpetual motion and all of these things. And every time, even though I was finding out I was wrong constantly on perpetual motion or what if, I think I was really into like, what if we gave humans bird wings for a while? Because I was like, ooh, genetics. I didn't even get into like the effects of, you know, how one would manipulate that, because I was thinking that you could do that to like living humans, which would be more of a graft than genetics anyway. But I then like was looking into like, oh, you know, how big would the wings need to be, and then realized, oh, like that's a lot of things. That's probably impractical. But all of these bits of research, even though it's not like I contributed anything to the scientific community with them, right? It was just finding out things that had already been answered. It was still important to me. It was still me going through this journey of discovery, and they felt huge. Man, when I learned about, force equals mass times acceleration, I thought I was so big-brained. Physics was broken because, well, acceleration, what if you're slowing down? That's negative acceleration. So the math must be wrong. It turns out that there isn't negative acceleration. Acceleration just describes the rate of change of basically a scalar quantity. It's not describing your direction. It doesn't care about your direction. It just cares about the rate of change, which the rate of change, even if it's reducing it, they're still even if the velocity is reducing, they're still considering that a positive acceleration. Just velocity is a vector quantity, so it has direction, but acceleration is not. It's how I roughly understand that. That was so huge to me. I'm like, man, why has no one thought of this? Of course they had, but it had a big impact on me, and that's something that I remember a lot. I haven't done that in a very long time, so it's nice. It's nice to see that sort of process laid out so relatably, I guess, to me, and in keeping with some of the other things I've been thinking about with this game. It's like there's a lot that I need to recapture in myself. I think I've talked about that a little bit. I won't go on, but I struggle a lot with depression, and I've spent the past couple years doing a lot to sort of reconstruct, and I've gotten myself to a point where depression is not like my biggest challenge on any given day. Anxiety, that's where it's at nowadays. But I still have some issues with it. There are days that are higher or lower, but I've developed, I think, better coping mechanisms. But one of my biggest things is I'm still kind of reconstructing who I am or who I was. Is who I was who I am today? No, but just trying to figure out a sense of identity again, I guess. And I think this has touched on yet another thing that I want to sort of try and integrate and work on, of just recapturing some of that childlike joy and not letting it be spoiled, as he's talking about. I Googled it. When I was a child, I remember being disappointed when I looked at World Map or Google Earth. Basically, he Googled the term, and it's like, oh, now I'm disappointed because other people knew about it. It wasn't special. And, when I looked at a map of Google Earth, I was disappointed that everything on Earth was known, and you couldn't go out and, explore it more. I've had that exact same thought. I don't know. Trying to remember to allow yourself some of that creativity, even if it is already known. Go explore it, because even if everything you explore is something that someone else has already figured out, something that someone else has already tread, you're not going to find anything new if you don't, most likely. Maybe there's some other route. I'm being sweeping. But secondly, the process, the journey there has value to you, because that is something that will have a much greater impact on how you remember it and how you think about it. And it can still, as he was saying, it can still be a theme, right? It can be a theme in your life. Because there's thoughts that I haven't done any real research into, but talking about I guess I think of society as a sort of organism, right? It is something where it evolves and reproduces and a whole number of other things. But thinking about societies and those structures as living things has been a recurrent theme in a lot of my thinking, as well as disconnection from your environment. Because I was thinking about this a lot and came across a video by a Cuban artist who was talking about the authority of technology. And then I came across, in psychology, functional fixedness of objects, and just sort of the idea of us not fully understanding the things around us and all of the uses that they could potentially have, the fact that we sort of fall into these ruts with them. And I think that's been exacerbated significantly by having such a complex society that these things are placed within, and encouraging specialization and a whole bunch of other things. That has been a recurring theme for myself. I found some things that seem to be researching it. I found not a whole lot. I don't know if that's because people have looked at it and it just doesn't pan out in any sort of useful philosophical way, or if maybe no one has and I'm truly unique. Probably not, but it's still nevertheless a theme that sort of influences my thinking. So I really like this. This has some very good thoughts. I do also want to specifically address, he talks about like smell being a sort of common experience between how he experiences the like memory flashbacks and how Proust does with the smell of Madeline's soaked in tea. And then proceeds to talk about it from like a biopsych perspective of it, because the smell directly affects the hippocampus. I don't know about that. It's been a while since my biopsych classes, and I'll be real, I did not get as much out of those as I would have liked because a lot of it was memorization. But if I do recall, smell is something that bypasses the thalamus for sensory processing. It still, I believe, does feed into it at some points, but it is one that also has a separate processing center that basically it doesn't get pre-processed in the thalamus, is how I understand it. I may be very wrong on this, even though I have a psych degree. Again, I haven't been keeping up with it as much as I should. So please dig into it yourself before you relay the details of it. But the generality is, I know that smell is something, it is one of the senses that is easiest to access while asleep. Hence why smelling salts are very effective at waking up. Don't know about very, but a lot more effective than just yelling at someone. And I believe there had been a number of studies on sort of what was the first thing to awaken people that were like sleeping during a house fire. And I believe in most cases smell, because smell in some way seems to bypass the like sensory and muscular paralysis that occurs while sleeping. And so smell seems to be very, very, very impactful on memory formation and sleep. Sleep tends to be associated with memory formation a lot as well. So beautiful thing about the brain is, even if I did research and look at all of the information we have on it currently, there's a decent chance that in 20 years it would all be wrong, because we still don't get a lot of it. But yeah, it's smell is something that does tend to trigger a lot of like nostalgia and particular memories for people. So it's a very good observation, and as someone who has been in very similar environments a lot for the past few years because pandemic stuff and wearing a mask outside, so I'm not getting a lot of smells, I really miss smells. I think that may be part of why a lot of time seems to move so quickly for me, is because I'm not grounding a lot of things in smells. But you know, I've been trying to artificially reintroduce smells into my environment with like apple cider packets that I drink, and then I'll keep them around to smell for a while. And just trying to do a few things like that so that some of those things will stand out and associate. So I think that's something that I can see this sort of thought, you know, leading to refined self, and sort of that introspection. So highly recommend reading this for yourself and looking at it. The other one that I thought was very interesting, I mean, I found all of them interesting, but this most recent one from March, I mean, literally been written since I started playing the game. Is talking about going on a walk and looking at the flowers that were around them, and that they particularly like flowers that grow as weeds, which I appreciate too. There's a certain like tenacity to them, right? I just wanted to bring this one up as well because it seems like in the game there's a number of flowers that you can go pick, that are sort of in these like little odd places where maybe they shouldn't necessarily be. And it's fun to sort of see. I don't know if that was an intentional theme or if it even is really a theme, but the dots, I've connected them. So go check those out. I will be checking it out for future updates. But I have spent half an hour yapping about that. Let's try the comprehension test for a little bit, and then I'll come back and try and figure out at least the latter. Doctor's human comprehension test. Which do you like? Which would you want? Which is preferable? Which would you ally with? Let's start with which do you like? Which do you like? Sheep. Coffee or tea? I don't actually drink either of them, I think I've talked about, but I think aesthetically I have a greater penchant for tea because a lot of the like coffee shop vibes I can get, I think you can also get with tea, but then tea also branches into more like witchy herbalism that I like. Aw. Next question. Now, which one's the majority choice? I would assume coffee. Really? Really? That's fascinating. But I don't know about coffee consumption in Japan. I guess in a lot of like internet spheres I've been on, I see a lot more coffee related content, which is also not necessarily actually reflective of the world directly around me, but interesting. Which do I like, dogs or cats? I'm going to click dogs. It's funny though, because I have had a lot of problems with both because when I was young, I had a lot of bad interactions, specifically with cats, and then later on had some very bad interactions with dogs. I've been working on both, and I think I've done the greatest shift positively on cats, but I think my love of dogs is still greater than that. It's just, I think even my like fear of dogs was not as deep as like of cats. So the fact that I view cats positively now is a bigger shift, but still dogs better. Okay. I'm gonna guess cats because like this seems like a game that would attract people who are a little more chill, which I think I associate more with cats. I think that's right. Okay. Which do I like, rice or bread? I used to like bread a lot more, and there are certain kinds, like a good pretzel roll, or focaccia, but I use rice a lot more, and I like what I like. If you're handing me a plain thing of bread or rice, I would choose bread, but I love the versatility of rice more. I'm not a big sandwich guy, so rice. I'm gonna say rice. I'm gonna say rice just on the basis of like versatility, and also genuinely partially because I know a lot of the player base is in Japan, and I know there is a lot of like really good bread over there, but I have a sneaking suspicion that similar reasons rice seems to be involved in a lot of day-to-day cuisine. So I don't know. That's my guess. Which do you like, swords or guns? While I like the historical use of them and following like the evolution of firearms, I think swords are just cooler, and as someone who is has an interest in blacksmithing and would like to make swords, I could also make guns. That could be interesting to like put together a musket at some point. Would be very cool, although require a lot, and I mean a lot of legal consultation probably to make sure that wasn't stepping on any toes. Because I mean blacksmiths were making a lot of the pieces for flintlocks and such, but I think swords are just neater. And I would also kind of wrap knives in with that. I appreciate the versatility in a survival situation of just a good old knife a lot more than a gun. I think most people are going to think swords are cooler. Yeah, that's not, I was assuming that would be more stark, but okay. What do you like? I am more of a chill inside kind of person. I like going for hikes and walks, but I am a homebody, and man, I wonder what people are gonna say. Yeah. I think this is actually a really cute way of getting at some more of the biases of folks a little bit. Do you like squares or circles? Now that's a bit more abstract. I have been CGP gray converted, so the answer is hexagons. But pi is magical, but so is like, I guess I like squares because I remember really liking learning about all of the different types of quadrilateral in school. So it's not so much that I like squares themselves as I like quadrilaterals in general and the association squares have with that. I think circles on their own are just neater. Triangles, I would say hands down triangles. Triangles are so neat. Oh man, actually, as much as I like hexagons because of the reasons that CGP Grey is described with hexagons are the bestagons, I think triangles beat them for me. So I think triangles would be my answer, but I think circles is the answer here. Well, I think I'm in the majority. Wow. Wow. Now that also really shocks me. I wonder why there's such a stark difference there. What do you like, bitter food or sweet food? Sweet food. And I'm gonna guess that most people prefer sweet to bitter. Because like, sour, really bitter. Because like bitter to me, it's not even necessary. Like sour is different than bitter. Because bitter is, at least to me, like the more chemically, basically the taste that you intentionally perceive as bad. I don't know if I would ever enjoy a bitter taste, really. So maybe I misunderstand that word, or maybe there's a little translation thing. I don't know. Would you like sunset or sunrise? I am a much bigger sunset kind of person. I feel like more night owls, but you know, we'll go with that. Oh, okay. I was right. As I like both of them a lot. And especially, God, some of the nights where I've stayed up until sunrise and just like not even fully processed that, it's always been super pretty, but I like the time of day better at sunset. So I like that more. The iconography of sunrises I think is also nicer, but sunsets are just, I have more positive memories with those. Which you like, the city or the country? I think, I love like very curated city aesthetics in like an apartment, but actually like going and being in one drives me insane. Whereas I love just spending time in the country. I'm gonna guess more folks would be interested in the city. Yeah, that makes sense to me. Again, I know a lot of the player base is more, I believe it's a very heavily, I think there are a lot more Japanese players than there are basically global players. And I know that Japan has a lot of like urban clustering, so that makes sense to me, but maybe there would be more like romanticism for the countryside then, but I guess not, if that's even the reason. This is all conjecture, revealing my biases. Which do you like? Which it's interesting because you're getting my personal bias from which answer I pick for me, and then we're also getting at my like biases about how I'm imagining the other people playing this game. Which is very interesting in its own right, and also makes me feel like I need to tread more lightly. Which do you like, mountains or oceans? I love them both so much, but I am a nautical guy at heart. I think more people oceans. Yeah. Don't have a strong reasoning for that one. I think oceans are neat, and like, I think people who like mountains probably like other land-based geography as well, so it's like smaller subset than just like, if you like water, you probably like oceans. Which you like, crowds or being alone? I don't love, I love I love being apart from crowds. I don't like being part of a crowd. So I think being alone is definitely valid. I like small groups. I really like small group stuff. I like small group a lot more than being alone, but I think I would prefer being alone to being in a crowd, but I love observing crowds. That I think is super cool. And sometimes, you know, being at the fringes of it, I can enjoy sort of feeding on that energy. Like, I'm still part of it, but I generally speaking, they make me feel claustrophobic. I'm gonna guess more folks on being alone. Yeah, that's pretty stark. Playing inside versus playing outside. Which do you like, love or friendship? I place way too much emphasis on love, but I'm really happy with the friendships I have. I still really want to spend. I would like to have love be a bigger part of my life, but I think friendship is romantic love. I want to clarify is what they're talking about. I have to assume, because friendship, it's very strong platonic love, and I really enjoy that. I have a really, really good bunch of friends that have made a really big impact on my life, and I love that a lot. I'm gonna say, oh, interesting. Okay, we've got a bunch of romantics in here. Oh, the second one I got wrong. Which do you like, apartment or house? I am a bigger fan of houses because I do like the outside space and for doing some projects, but I'm gonna guess more folks in on the apartment life. Really? More on the house life, okay. Because I was thinking like the city, I was thinking because more people liked cities that maybe there would be a greater emphasis on apartments. Interesting. Which do you like, plain or flashy? I am a plain person. I like nice, simple aesthetics. As do many. And I feel like this game, if you're attracted to the aesthetics of this game, like, this is not a flashy looking game aesthetically. So that makes very good sense to me. Which do you like, process or results? Oh, I do enjoy journeys in general. It's tough. I guess I prefer the process in my consumption, and I prefer results in my production. And that, I think, is part of what shoots me in the foot with a lot of my creative pursuits. And I think that's part of why streaming and doing video recordings has stuck on some level, is because I'm enjoying the process of doing this right now. I'm enjoying the process of sitting down and actually engaging with games and media. So thank y'all for enjoying that, because I will say it's very self-serving the way I'm doing it. Like I feel beholden on some level to the folks that watch me, and that's like, I'm doing this, I've eaten up my buffer, so I'm trying to get this done in a timely manner, even when there's a bunch of other stuff to do, but I'm committing. I'm trying to make sure I get it done so I get this video out, at least roughly, air quotes, on time. But, you know, it would be neat to have a bigger following, and I don't know, YouTube at the very least runs ads no matter what, right? So I don't know, getting some of YouTube money, sure, that would be awesome. But that's so far from the point, right? Like, this is, if no one watched it, I would still be doing this. Same as with Twitch, right? It's something I'm doing for me. And the fact that there are people who are watching it, the fact that there are people who are taking the time to like it and comment it on it is so cool. I'm so glad that I'm getting to be a part of your guys' lives on some level. And man, I still haven't replied on the Discord. I'm so busy, but I was seeing that we had, I think it was Ollie was watching me on her big screen TV, which I made it big time, guys. So like, I love that. I'm so glad that people enjoy stuff in that way. But again, I'm doing this for me. So I enjoy the process of this, and I think that's why it stuck. But a lot of things, especially with like coding and whatnot, I focus more on results. Although I think part of that is because I really do love the process. I just can't afford to love the process as much, because if I don't watch myself, I will spend like 8 hours working on a few coding problems that I'm just like tinkering with, and time just goes away. So that's also something I maybe need to work on, is allowing myself the space to just get in that flow state and not worry about it. Or alternately, allowing myself to get into that flow state and just having the breakers built in a way where I'm not having to think about them. And that's because, other little thing, started a second job this week to try and get up to like 40-ish hours a week, because big life changes and trying to afford moving out and all that good stuff. But man, it was rough. Especially, I pulled some days where I was doing like a 5-hour shift and then a 6-hour shift with commute time in between, and but doing basically like a 12-hour day of not all work, but of being out and sort of in work mode. And that was rough. And it was especially rough on one of the days. It dragged. My mind was on fire, even at the job I'd already been doing, the library page, in which I love. It just dragged and felt like it took forever because I couldn't get into that flow state. Today, I got into that flow state and it was great. And retail, man, it really bounces back and forth, but more often than not, it's really hard for me to get into just like a flow and let the time pass. So I gotta work on that more, I think. Just allowing myself to get into that, like, it's all good. So I think results is honest, and I'm trying really hard to focus on process. At least, again, with production, which I think is more important when it comes to results, because I think that's more direct. But in like media consumption, I'm not like, oh yeah, I finished this series, I can check it off my list. I enjoy getting to consume the series. I'm gonna guess that more people like process that play this game. Pretty even. Wow, okay, like very, very even. Neat. This ends the experiment. So your understanding of humans is relatively good. 73.33%. Okay. You know, as an ink spirit who's been around the block quite a few times, it's quite heartening. You know, that's like, what, a C? But, you know, could be worse. What's the saying? C's get degrees? All right. That took longer than expected. I was expecting that to be I wasn't expecting that to be like a full-on quiz. So I think what I'm going to do instead, we're gonna pause here. I'll come back, and I think we'll go try and reveal we'll go check in on the couple of things I wanted to look at, and we'll call that there. And then we'll probably do one more of these where I come back and I do the rest of these quizzes. And that might be further in the future. That will probably be a like, I just need something where I can just chat kind of time. And that then also gives us the opportunity, if there's other things that we think of as like, oh, you know, I want to try this out, we can then pair that together and have it still be a reasonable chunk of time. So we're putting a pin in it, and you will be seeing a cut here in just a moment to the main game. Alrighty, let's do this thing. Test has been completed. What will you do? Of course, you'll still be shown what personality you get. Will not be recorded as your personality. Yes, we will play again. I'm glad it won't be recorded because, we're going to do horrible, horrible things. Or at least horrible, horrible thing. Because yeah, main thing is just the ladder. I'm curious what more info we'll get there. I think I don't know, we need to get some money for it, at the very least, but we'll figure that out. Okay. Doctor said, what am I going to do with myself now? Make some money? And use a man as a ladder. Like a monster. Oh, interesting. So there's a lot of... I wonder if that also biases the clergy aspect of it. Because, oh, call me by name. I still like Utsua, yeah. Guess I couldn't forget it. Because like, the grave, that seems like something that you probably just kind of naturally go to every time, right? Can I be disposed of, Doctor? I swear it. Can't give you orders, but I can make promises. No, not the yawning. Okay. Because if I remember correctly, it gives like 4 clergy points, so that could be just in and of itself could be a fairly large bias. I'm saved. Well, we shall give it to the thieves this, or actually, you know what? What if we took it for money? Remove the seed of strife. That's so not me. Must destroy the source of the strife. Pacifist. That is... what? I'm a pacifist. Rather than solve the issue, I shall allow both to die. That does not seem in keeping with my understanding of pacifism, but, you know, hop off. Okay. It's annoying to wait every time. Destroying it? No! But we have to have the breathing time. Particularly early on. Ooh. Utsua, good to see you. Truth is, the doctor entrusted me with the job. To set up a ladder wherever you wanted it. Of course, I'm that ladder, so I'll die once I do the job, but hey. Now, where do you want the ladder? A spot that gives you a shortcut could be good, or do you want you could use it to reach somewhere inaccessible? Inaccessible area. I want the ladder to give me access somewhere new. Gotcha. Well then, I'll go become a ladder. Yeah. Oh, that's horrendous. But hopefully we'll get something out of it. Oh right, and the crow drone. That was the other one. Crow drone. Hello. Crow drone, what do I do? Doctor told me to kill these. Haha, where? Kill me if you think you can. No telling what might happen to you, though. Where? Okay, I'll be killing you. Ha, where? Oh! A battle? Crow drone, I won't let you meddle with the doctor's plan. Ha, where? Bam! Bam! Boo! Bam! Boop! Ah, so its damage is scaling. So we can go to... Ooh. Think we can get one more in? Oh! Still feel like... Oh, once per game? Now it's just 5? Okay. Interesting. I wonder why the damage suddenly dropped down. Plot convenience? Managed to beat it. Think it remains as scrap. Okay. Somewhere new. Oh, we could also see if we can trigger the cleaning bot. Key. A key to where? I do not know. Where was it that was locked? I can't think of where it was locked. So, this may draw us in for more things. Uh-oh. Okay. Cat, it's a kitty. Move. Move, kitty. Even though I was okay doing that earlier, I still feel a little mean every time I do it. Reasons why I would not a good cat owner make. I wouldn't know how to give, or I wouldn't know how to stand my ground to get them to move. They're being inconvenient and the like. Actually, give me coins. I would just cave. In fact, give me coins. What? Eh? Alright, I'll give you my coins. Thank you! Yo, so much money from mugging this poor man. Flowers. Is there somewhere in here that was locked? I refuse to sparkle. Okay, basement. Okay. Friend, do you not have human friends? Not a single one. You say maybe it's not even a big issue, but when I was a kid, I got bullied a lot. Just because my hair was white. A totally nothing reason. Just because of that? Yep, but kids don't need a good reason to bully, you know? So there's different dialogue? Interesting. Grew distrustful of people after that, and now here we are. So that's why I made you, I think. Now I've gained something more important than a friend. And as a result, my life's a happy one. Is that right? I feel glad about that, but it's a bit complicated. Nah, it's real simple. Like, I don't remember a discussion about her being bullied previously. How do you mean? Shouldn't that be obvious? I mean, her plan, of course. Oh, yes. So, manager bot telling us the plan. Okay. Ooh, and let's look. What to do? I'll check my current personality. Hero. Gallant sort who can proceed forward with courage even if it's scary. As in, we're just yeeting ourselves forward? Sure, okay. I can see it. Roof. I keep grabbing the flowers because they're here. Okay. Ascend the ladder. Ascend the ladders. Descend more violently, but not the most violently. Where could this key go? At least now we know that it's a key, so we can keep an eye out for a keyhole. Takes you all the way to the island. Get to the point. I refuse. Have you not seen the documents? Yeah, I read them. Don't you feel any responsibility? I just made them for my sake. You're the ones who went and took my research. Frankly, I think I'm the victim here. So I rounded up all the non-original EAIs. The only ones left now are yours. Why should I have to destroy what I made for myself? Because those rounding up the EAIs won't be convinced. Masses believe you're monopolizing the tech. Selfish. You're so damn selfish. Let Utsuwa be. She is just trying to exist and vibe. Oh. Oh. So I wonder if the key might reveal something. Interesting. So if we can use, so maybe we can use the key to find an access code. I forgot about the safe. That's a good one to keep in mind. Ba-ba-ba-da-da-ba. Cardboard box. Cigarette, no thank you. I'm good. Just say no. could throw some jars, but to what end? Hello! Lonely. I want lonely memories. I have lots of memories. I want lonely. Sure. I'll give you memories. For what? If my memories will do, sure. Really? I'm glad, thank you. I'll also give you coins as thanks. What memories am I losing? Well, down the hatch. Beep. Yeek. Ah. Okay. Delectable. Thank you. I just copied my records, but I wonder if that's okay. Oh, okay, so we didn't actually lose our memories. Fair enough, fair enough. Welcome. So you just one thing. Very handy. Present for someone. There must be someone who wants it. Ooh. I did also forget about... So that's another thing. So we might be able to use that to... Okay. Oh, right. No, wait, no, I'm not sure I wanted to go to the beach. Oh, but maybe this will... Maybe the crashed thing will... Also, I think we should just... This sounds bad. I think we should just allow ourselves to fail here, because I think that'll be faster. But, I wonder if the key can be used to unlock the pod that drops here. Please just work, so we get through the whole fixing thing. I like the dialogue. We're trying to explore and get through specific stuff. And to that end, I do wish that there was a skip button. But I can also see that going very wrong during like your normal playthroughs. Where you like accidentally skip over something critical. So I do not begrudge the lack of one, even if it would be a little bit handy for now. Wow, a lot more things died than we killed. Okay, we need to walk a little further before we... God, this is going to startle the hell out of me. Just like it did every other time, isn't it? Oh, I thought it was when we walked back. Okay. Something fell. Okay. It's a door, but it won't open. Can we... So, no, we couldn't key it? No? Okay. Backpack. Key. A key to some door. Key to a lighthouse door. So maybe we should just go check the lighthouse. Yeah, there's also other so there's a number of other things to mine. Oh god, I forgot about that. Okay. I think it might be something where we... Oh god. Okay. So that's like a common attack pattern where it gets really big and then just drops to 5. But because like I'm intrigued, but I kind of want... I kind of want the ability to like... I want some stuff to sort of still come back to. Woo. So I think what I'll do is we'll see sort of what threads we can get here. And then you know what? I need to stop making plans like that. We'll figure it out. Seems to be a door but won't open. Okay. We'll figure it out. We may put this on hold for a while before coming back to trying to find all the stuff, but maybe we'll just keep chugging. It's kind of depends. Okay. Oh, can we talk to you more? Lonely, want lonely memories? Yeah, lots of memories I want. Lonely. Sure, more memories. So, can we just, is this infinite money glitch? I mean, not a glitch, but free money? Okay. That's interesting. So yeah, that's basically just free money, it seems like. Very, very, very interesting. We'll take the gift. Okay, thanks very much. Okay. So we've got a key with no door and a gift with no recipient. Oh, I wonder if Inori would take the gift. Door? No door. Oh, you know, I should really try to remember what the... Okay, let's try and make a little money. And then go get the info. Good partner. Oh, I wonder, maybe we could give her the gift, or maybe we could give Kibo the gift. Customers sure do come still. Alright. We'll help. Sure. Getting a job in the game, just like real life. Okay. Hooray, I've been waiting. Thanks for helping out. If you wait around, customers will come. Give them the coffee they want. Yup. Cost? Okay. Warm coffee, please, with sugar. So, warm. And then sugar. And then they'll tip us. Yeah. Perfect, right? Well made. I'll give you a tip. Wahoo! Okay. They tipped us our cost. Anything warm is fine with me. Ooh, let's give a chili so that it's like spicy warm, right? Aha! We thought hard about what they might want. Wahahahaha. Customers here. Leaving it up to you, miss. Let's do something nice and cold. With a little milk. Oh no, that sounds kind of pleasant. It's basically just a glass of cold milk. Your flavor, miss. It's average. Oi. Oi. Good work. Seems you did okay. Okay. Customers here. I feel awful. Awful. Some medicine and some sugar to mask it. The likes of me doesn't deserve. Wow. Thank you for the ultimate drink. Good work. Customer was pleased. They all added up. Customers here. I don't have coins, but I wanted milk coffee. We can do that for you. It'll be nice. We made money. Thank you very much. You're kind, aren't you? Here's the tip. Liar. Taking advantage of us. I think that was what I was thinking the first time was like Odin or whatnot, right? Of course. But wow. Okay. Sure. Customers here. Hey, could you tell me what the ultimate cup is for me? Something warm. With chili and milk to balance it out. So that's not like spicy. I see, so this is the ultimate cup. Correct. I know my coffee. As an ink blob and a liquid myself, I think I know coffee. Okay. Good work. That was a breeze, thanks to you. Sure would be nice if you always helped. I have places to do, people to be. Oh, here's your reward. Yep. Woohoo. So much time. So much time for those wages. Okay. But let's see if we can figure it all out. I feel so bad about using bladder and the fact, like, okay, we've learned about it. It's just like, man, I don't like messing. Cannot tell you if you're unable to pay 60 coins. Oh. So I need one more coin? Are you kidding me? Oh, hey! This is activated. Cleaning type robot. Well now, good day. I am cleaning. We'll dismantle. Just in case. I'll dismantle him to be safe. I'll do the detailed work, so dispose of him after. Understood. Oh my god. There's something on the ground. I'll pick it up. Broken watch obtained. So, being what I would consider somewhat horrible seems to be the only way to collect some of these little threads that might do things. Who could she be? What should I do? Legibly, you act freely. As you please. That must be the doctor's desires. However, I have a request if you would accept. A request, yes. Please touch some sheep and come back. Specifically sheep other than those here. I'll give you coins for it. Alright. Sheep touch, sheep touch. Touch a sheep for a coin. Touch a sheep, get a beep. Sheep a beep, touch a greep. Look, man, I'm tired right now. I need to go to sleep and sleep long and hard, but I touched them. Yes, I did. Did you really touch the sheep? Really did touch them. Not all of them, but I did touch some. See, thank you very much. Or you provide them with energy. Thank you again. Here are your coins. Can't give any more coins. Okay. Well, let's buy the info. And, unfortunately, I think that's our last action. But we now know some of these threads. So, next time we do it, we can try and figure out how to actually follow them up. I'm the informant, deal in variety of info. Currently I have 3 pieces. All 3 for 60, 2 for 30, or just 1 for free. Oh, but isn't even willing to talk to us if we don't have all options. Interesting. All 3. Okay. So what are the 3 pieces? I'm posting on a net news site that has not been updated in some time. If anyone sees this, please help me. I managed to hijack TNN News to send this out. The World Safety Institute's underground shelter is already destroyed. Someone must have allowed in a kind soul already infected with nanomachines. This place is done for. It's horribly contaminated. Oh my god. So we got that super early on, and I had no context for it. But so even the last like bastion of security collapsed. So please don't come here for your survival. That is all. On to the next piece of info. Here's your information. The PC in the lab basement is still functioning. It appears to still be logging your personality and so on. If you wish to check, you may want to go to the basement of the lab. That is all. Okay, and we have found that. That's the last one. Here's your info. Beneath the lighthouse. It must lead somewhere under that cliff. With the help of the ladder seller, you might be able to create a shortcut. Ah, but it needs to be... Oh, so we can only choose the key or the shortcut. Interesting. Kibo? Okay. Are you alright? Yes, I'm okay. Thought you might be having trouble. Something the doctor left. Please pick one. Coins. Gremlin. Give me money. This'll take coins. Here you are. Thank you. 5 coins. Hell yeah. Her hug is worth more than 5 coins. The doctor's hug is worth more than 5 coins. Come on. I'm getting a lot of final actions. But okay, so I'm curious where the key leads. So we've got so either a key or the shortcut under the lighthouse, it would seem. Because I remember the ladder, I knew that there was some sort of info from the seller to do with the ladder, but... Oh, or wait, no, this is above the lighthouse. So how do we go under the lighthouse? Do we have to do mining for that? Oh, final action. Scrap dig site. Feel free to dig as you wish. Interesting. Okay. Interesting. So... yeah. I will make notes. I'll make notes so that next time, in addition to doing the quizzes, I want to do the quizzes, but next time we can also, I think we probably want to have the ladder do a shortcut and sort of see what that reveals to us. See if we can figure out how to get under the lighthouse with that. I must keep my promise. I do appreciate that most people didn't choose must. I have to take out the sheep. Bam. 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 No, Dr. Sheep. Are you planning to do the sheep? I'm going to destroy them. That is a difficult thing for me to allow. And yet, our will shall overpower yours. Seems I have to. Okay. What do we... Oh, gotcha. Deal major damage, but take damage. Okay, let's boost our attack. Let's rouse ourselves. The thing that I must do is stop the doctor being born 100 years from now. I can't lose myself here. Let's do a strong blow. Only 9 damage. Foolish, you can't beat me. I win by fighting fair. Uh-oh. The reckless mode is only an extra point. Uh-oh. Well, reckless attack. Will it deal 34? No. Ouch. My body, it won't hold. I can't at the very end. At least the sheep. We lost. Game clear. Well done clearing the game. I was able to collect some new data. Yep. Recording the personality from the log. Goodbye. Wait, can we like double fast? No, okay. Can't double fast forward, but yeah, because like, man, all this data, like that, I feel like that was a fairly abbreviated number of data points compared to most runs, but I mean that was still easily like what, at least 50 pieces of info, which like that's not a super detailed that wouldn't be a super detailed test, but I'm curious. I'm curious if that would oh no, I would be very curious to see if there's some way to get some data out of this, but the murder zombie makes no different. Gallant sort who can proceed forward with courage, even if it's scary. Heroes are the same as the name implies. Simply heroic people. You might go against a foe, even if you perhaps stand no chance of beating them. At times your heroic nature may not align with rationality, but that might only serve as further proof of your gallantry. Conquering your fear is no ordinary task, but you take that challenge even if it means taking on hardship. Samurai, strong-willed sort. Sticking to their first decision. Demonstrate speed and accuracy in decisions. Okay, yeah, we're speed running. No hesitation to you. You are handled and are handled with conviction. While most people devote much energy to decisions, for they give little stress. As such, people may depend on your decisiveness. And then martial artist. Make judgments with a preference for simple options when ordering a drink. Might tend to ask for the simplest available. Might also hold simultaneous beliefs that things are both individual and fall into categories. Rather than stick out, you harmonize with those around you and search for safe answers. It by no means implies violence. You protect yourself naturally, a key ability for a stable life. End the test. Okay. So, key. So, ladder to new place equals key. Ladder shortcut, probably something under the lighthouse. How to get under lighthouse, don't know. Broken pocket watch from disassembling the man. Gift, go to who? I think that covers it. I think that covers the sort of 4 big things. And then there's the pod that we can't open. And the we know that there's at least 1 missing journal entry, because why would there be a 2 but not a 1? I suspect there's probably more. Or did we find... We might have found 1 already. I'll need to double check that. But yeah, I will write that down so we can try and focus on that more next time. But hell yeah, we got to do some of the bonus, got to talk about it, and got to at least see some of the forbidden options. The forbidden options would have just... I think we would not have solved those immediately and would have probably gotten sucked into other things. So I'm glad that I didn't give in to the forbidden options when still sort of taking those first steps. So, all right. I was hoping I think I was hoping that would be a little more conclusive, conclusion-y. I was thinking that might wrap things up a little more neatly than it did, obviously, but that just means that there's more to explore. So, thank y'all for listening to me yap a bunch earlier, and thank you for coming with me on that little exploration there. Don't know if and when the next one will be, but what do I mean of? I'm sure I will do at least one more with this game. Because we gotta finish these. I don't know how much I'm going to pursue those loose ends. That might just be something that I sort of leave for the future and then I'll come back on a night where I'm really feeling it kind of thing. But we'll see. We'll find out. I do promise that these will get done sooner rather than later, but we may start some stuff in between. So, thank y'all. This has again been very lovely. Game is just good vibes. The developer seems like a very interesting person. Excited for doing the other game that they've got, and it also sounds like they're working on a new project. So I will absolutely be keeping an eye out for that. It's just it's lovely vibes. The music is amazing. The thoughts are lovely. The art is super cute, and it makes me have questions about like what can we do with this, even if it's not, you know, a super strong personality test. It's interesting and it's obviously something where thought was put into it, and it makes me want to tease it apart more. In any case, thank y'all for hanging out. I really appreciate it when you spend some time with me. It's lovely. It's great to know that. But for now, I must bid you adieu so I can get some sleep. I hope that you have had a fantastic day, night, or whenever you're watching this, and I wish you the best of luck in the rest of your day, night, or whatever's endeavors. But for now, I must bid you adieu. Bye.